Compassion, and I want to welcome you all. My guest tonight is Dr. Blessing Okoro Rellias. I hope I said her name right.
Yes, exactly.
You said what?
You said it perfectly.
Perfect, perfect. I want to let you know up front, if you are interested in asking any questions, please feel free to ask any questions that you have. And I want you to welcome my guest. So thank you so much, Dr. Blessing, for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right, why don't you tell everybody exactly what you do?
I am a psychotherapist. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I'm also a wellness coach.
Okay. And how long have you been doing that?
I've been doing therapy for about 13 or so years.
Okay.
Yes.
Now what made you get into this field? How did you get started to say I want to get into this field?
I think it really started when I was very young. I wanted to be a physician, mainly because I really wanted to help people. So I went to school. Just everything was on the right track to be a physician. And but at the same time, my mom was not only a teacher, but she was also somebody that helped people a lot. So she used to go to hospitals, to orphanages, to even prison. And I was her little assistant, so I would go with her. We were a big part of a church, so we had different programs that, I would be my mother's little secretary, going with her everywhere. So that really ignited the passion in me in terms of really wanting to help people that are in need. And even when I wanted to be a physician, I always wanted to do something in an area where I can still do some service that really benefits people, not just only in terms of the medical issues, but also in terms of just, psychological problems and other things that they may be having, because I just watched my mom, the way she listened to people, the way she talked to people, and that made such a big difference in their lives. So when I ended up finding my path, take me towards, psychology and doing mental health programs, I really gravitated towards that a lot more. And here I am.
Now, you said your focus is marriage and family counseling.
Yes.
What are some of the points that you focus on, or the topics or issues that you focus on in that marriage and family?
I think there's a whole different kinds of things that we can talk about when it comes to working with people, more than one person in a relationship. Um, Depending on what the concerns are, there's a lot of communication issues that tend to come up. There's also the different kinds of health, especially financial health, just being together as a couple or a family or friends or whatever it is, just being in a relationship one way or the other. There's so many things that take two people that are very unique in their own way and putting them together. There's always different things that come up that we try to work with. So for each person or people that come to work with me, I really take time to get to know them, not only as individuals, but also when they are put together. So a lot of times, even though my way of doing or my orientation in therapy um, are different in terms of different things that I do, one main thing I notice is I look at relationships. Even when I have one person coming in to see me, I look at the different things that they are tied to, different people that they are tied to, their environment. All that are part of how our relationships are, and how that plays a big part in how unique that each person is. So there's just a whole lot of things that you can look into when you're dealing with people in marriage, or in just relationship issues.
You said looking at the entire environment, which I think is wonderful. A lot of times we tend to focus on just one specific issue, just the person, just them alone, not so much, everything in the environment, which is something that is huge, which makes you a little different from other people that I've heard. And a lot of us get a little nervous about the marriage counseling. I was once married, and I thought about going to counseling, but being in the church, I felt like, I don't need it. I'm in church. I'll just pray about it. But I'm finding that we do need the counseling. Communication is something that you brought up. What is something that's stopping the communication? Because people tend to communicate early, but then they lose it. What's the reason for that?
You know, for I think there's so many things that play a part in that. First of all, people have had different experiences that play a part in, how they respond to the world. And a lot of times, when we first get into relationships, everything is new, everything is wonderful. We are constantly presenting the best side of who we are at that time. And we go through that honeymoon phase, whether it's a relationship or marriage. But as time continues, we kind of get a little bit too comfortable in, just things that we're doing, and then, a lot of different parts of who we are start to kind of come into relationships. The problem is, like you've mentioned, we talk a lot at the beginning, and as time continues, we kind of start, not putting in more as we used to. And when I say putting in more, I mean really taking time to talk to each other, talk about our concerns, our fears, and make that a habit. A lot of times we don't do that, and or even take time to listen to each other. Now, when we talk about communication, a lot of times we talk about talking, but not really taking time to listen to each other. When the other person is saying something, even if I don't agree, what is behind what they're saying? Do I take time to really learn where whatever they're saying is coming from, or what they're feeling, what they're talking about? I think it's something that is really lacking in terms of how we communicate with each other a lot of times. So these are some of the things that it's important to take time and um, discuss with each other. One of the things I always tell people is it's interesting how we really, and you mentioned this, how we really think about mental health. Most of us at least once a year go to see our doctors and get checkup. And if we're sick, if we get a headache and it's not going away, I want to go see my doctor to find out if there's more that it may be going on. But we don't really do that in terms of our mental health, which is part of our entire health. Even when people have great relationships, I think, or even things going on really well in their lives, one of the things I always say is take time to talk, to go see someone, maybe in the church. A lot of times we have great pastors and other people in the church in position where they can really sit down and talk with you. But how many times do we actually take time and do a checkup on our emotional and mental health? With my partner, I want to sit down and see where are we now. A year later, even if it's 1, 2, 3 sessions, where are we? Is there something that we need to do better, do more of, do less of? Is there something I need to do for myself? Take care of myself. All those things are very important for us to also put in our, schedule of things that we do to take care of our health. So,
So mental health, and or when I hear mental health, rather, I, I don't really, to be honest with you, understand, sorry, the terms of what does mental health mean. When I hear it, I think of a mental illness,
hmm
nothing positive. So can you elaborate on the difference between, or what mental health is exactly?
Well, a lot of times when people just think health in general, health, you think more of, good health means absence of disease. So when we think of health, we think about what's going on in terms of our body and medical issues. But we don't really think about just how we live our lives. I mean, when you even think of emotional issues, mental health issues. Like you said, a lot of times, I mean, the minute you mention mental health, everybody starts thinking, or a lot of people start thinking of mental illness. Yes, that is very real. That happens, and a lot of people struggle with different kinds of mental illness. But at the same time, think about it. Days that you just get out of bed and you're just not in a good mood. How is your day? That may affect the way that your health is for the day. That may affect the way that you see the world, the way that you talk to people, the way that little things may be irritating you. um, Mental health is a big part of life. It's life, and a lot of times we don't see it that way. We don't see it as part of our health because we always think about, it's something off when you think of mental health. So, a lot of times it's what's happening in our brain, it's what's happening in our heart, what's happening in our emotion, and depending on what's going on in your life, that affects the way you think, that affects the way you act, that affects the way that you feel, and all that kind of work together to really play a part in how people's overall health is.
Yeah, just like with stress. I mean, there's some things that's been bothering me in the last couple of days and or last week that I've been dealing with even up to now. And even before the show, I had to do some breathing exercises because my blood is boiling. I feel like I want to hit the roof and just let it out. And but I'm trying to find a way to keep it under control where I'm not going too crazy or losing my mind, not literally, but just going too crazy. Is there something, does that configures into mental health as well, because that can affect you, right? Like
Definitely.
physically.
I mean, again, that's why I said earlier, when you mentioned mental health and everybody, a lot of people may think mental illness right away. What you just mentioned is a very typical thing that is very common with everybody, no matter who you are, in terms of just how things that are stressful to our functioning, to the way that we do things, can affect us. It affects the way we think about things. It affects the way that we react to people, we react to situations, we relate to people. The way, in fact, it affects the way that you eat, the way that you feel, affects the way that you take care of yourself. So you see how this becomes a very big part of who we are, because it
Yeah.
affects everything about our health. A lot of studies have been done in terms of how people um, um, heal after illnesses. A lot of that also has to do with what's going on with them emotionally, with stress, with other things. The way that we perform at work, the way we perform at home with our children, with our spouse, with our all that are all part of how we live our lives, and all that are part of mental health. And that's why it is very, very important that that should be part of our priority in terms of how we take care of ourselves. One of the things, people that know me very well, especially in my work, one thing I always stress about is self-care. Very, very important. No matter who you are, you need to get to know yourself. You need to take time. And if you can't do it by yourself, go get help. There's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, a lot of times when we need extra help with our medical health, we go somewhere to get that help. We don't sit at home and go, I have headache today, and for the past week, and it hasn't been going away. Let me heal myself. Let me, find all the help I can do something for myself, and that's it. We tend to seek help outside. Why can't we do that with our emotional health? Why can't we do that with our psychological health? And work hard on taking away that stigma that comes with that.
Yes.
And I think that's a big part of it. Honestly, the world would be a better place if we have a better understanding and a better way of seeing mental health. And because we will be able to start taking better care of ourselves. When we take time and take the temperature of how we are feeling, how we're doing, and what we need to do to get ourselves better, that will really make a big difference in just everything we do in our lives.
Yeah, just the education here alone, I tell you, it's huge for me because I told you when we talked about this before prior to the show, people don't understand it, and it's scary. Especially, I can only talk because I'm in a black home and or come from a black home. Well, I'm in one, and growing up around my ethnicity,
Mm-hmm.
this is not something discussed. This is not something, you hear about mental health. It's
Definitely.
a bad thing. It's not something that we should go get help for, because if we go to get help for it, then it's like, something must be wrong with you
Exactly.
because you're getting. But I love this because we need to be educated. I need to be educated on this because like I said, I go through a lot. I have many different businesses that I'm pursuing right now, that I'm starting up on my own, and just with that and different things that's going around, I'm like, I need to take some time to myself and check myself. And I just told myself this today, not realizing what you and I exactly where you were gonna go with this. So this is again, I mean, it's timing. It's timely. So this is perfect. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, and that is very important. I'm really glad you're doing that, and I wish we can encourage each other to do more of that. Starting with just everybody, but also women. We tend to do so many things and kind of put our health aside, I'll get to it tomorrow, or maybe it's not really what I think it may be, and we don't take time to really say, okay, everybody, this is mommy's time, or this is me time, and I'm going to take time and really care for me and take care of myself. So I think everybody's really, really important, and really it makes a big difference in terms of our health in general, but also our mental health, and then our health in general, to really take time and do an assessment of where we are, what is going on with us. Listen, a lot of times when we talk about stress and trauma, a lot of people think about the big bang stuff that happens. Little things that happen in our lives every single day, the way we live our lives, the way that we handle things every day and we go through the world, affect us one way or the other. Sometimes for good, sometimes not for good, and a lot of times it accumulates, and then something will kind of take people over the edge. So a lot of I think it's really important, while we're taking care of everybody else and everything else, to really take time and take care of ourselves, to assess where we are in everything that is happening, our stress level, our anxiety, anger issues, whatever it is, what is going on with us, relationships, and really take time to take care of ourselves, because that is important, and you start seeing a big difference when you start kind of taking time to do that assessment. Also, you see that in terms of how it reflects in your relationships, in the way that you really work with other people, because when you start taking care of yourself, then you will start seeing things that you cannot tolerate. People that
Right.
cannot tolerate too. People that causes stress in your life, and people who don't, people who actually makes things better in your life, and you want them more in your life. You want to kind of use them more as the medicine, to make you feel better. So I always say, group things that are happening in your life and people in your life into 3 different areas. People who are very, very, very beneficial in your life. They're like medicine. They're like, um, they're like real good nutritious food. You know, when you are going through that thing where you're trying to take care of your own health and you're changing, work on that. Look at people who are beneficial in your life. Then look at people who are people, you have fun with. They may not be people that you call when you're having issues, or people that you call when you need to have a deep conversation. But they're like, the ones you party with, have fun with. And then there are people that are toxic. you know? And sometimes you may not be able to get rid of them. They may be family, or other things. But you cannot know how much you can take with those people. Because again, remember that it's your life. And remember that, the kind of interaction you have with people affects who you are, affects your mental health, affects your health in general. So when you're able to, make assessment about these different levels, then you also know how you can be able to interact with those people and those situations that you have in your life, so that you can, in general, have a better mental and overall, just your general health can be better.
Well, that leads me into my question. I briefly told you in an email that I came from a domestic violence relationship, and that's definitely something tough to deal with. I know I had posted a while ago about a little bit about my situation, some of the things I went through, and a specific guy, he posted and says, well, you decided to stay there, you decided to be there, so why are you, you know, what did you do, to allow this to happen? So something must be wrong with you. And I know for a while I did blame myself because I stayed there. I did stay there because I was insecure. I always take some of the blame for it, not because of what he did, but for me staying in so long because I made the choice. But I didn't understand how to get out of that situation. I didn't realize that I didn't love myself like I thought I did and didn't care for myself. I just figured he has some issues that I can work out. It'll work out. I just have to be patient. I just have to pray. But then I realized that a lot of that had to do with my low self-esteem. He does have problems, yes, because he still doesn't recognize it, or I don't know if he does now or not. But someone like me in that situation, that I thank God I was able to break out and discover some things. If I didn't, what are some things that you can tell me to help me mentally to get through that? Because it's easier said than just get up and get out. because
Definitely,
nobody can
definitely.
just get up and get out.
And there's so many different reasons people don't get up and get out. I mean, for some of us who are not in that situation, it sounds so easy to say, why don't you get up and get out? I've talked to a lot of people who either have gone through or are going through that situation, and they have so many different reasons for themselves and for also other situations around them. And yes, it's a lot better if they're out of that situation. But I think these are people. If you see or you're working with people like that, a lot of encouragement is really good. To continue to encourage them, and also a lot of these people, because of things that they have been through in their lives, either they don't know that I mean, as much as you can tell them until they start feeling it, they don't know that they are worth, or more can be done to better themselves and get in a better situation. Um, a lot of times they have to get to a place where they believe that, and it's a lot harder for us to believe that, oh, if we just you know keep telling them get out of the situation, and then that will take care of everything. A lot of times when I work with these people who need that extra help to get out of situation, we look at so many other things that may be playing a part in them still being there. It may be financial reasons. There might be different resources that they're not able to tap into. That if they're able to do that may help them. They may still not believe that they're worthy of having a better relationship or being in a better situation. But at least if you're able to help them get the kind of resources that they need to be able to get on their own, then you can continue to work with them with different other situations that they may be in. But I think like I said, it's a lot easier to just say get out of the situation and then not realize that there is more than just one thing you may be thinking of that may be playing a big part in them still being in that situation. So and then if you don't know what resources you can help them with, at least continue to encourage them about who they are, about the wonderful things about just them being a person. The encouragement is really good, and I think we need to stop going back to that place where we start blaming people for being in such situations and be more encouraging.
Yes.
Be more of help. No matter even if they're taking steps that are smaller than a snail's. We should be behind them, pushing and encouraging, and being the cheerleaders versus sitting there and just trying to blame them and whip them out of the situation.
Yes.
I think that's one of the biggest problems that we have. Where yes, there's a lot of times we need to be stern with people about certain things, but at the same time, when you're being stern, are you also being encouraging and trying to help those people in a way that can help them realistically get out of that situation? And remember, working with the brain, and think about it. If I tell you today that you need to learn how to stop walking,
Mm.
think about that. Tell I mean, something that has become natural to you. Think about how hard that is going to be. Or let me give it a good example. No matter where you are in the world, you drive on a certain part of the road, right? And you have to go to a different part of the world that drives on the other side of the road.
Mhm.
How easy is that going to be?
Very
So a
true.
lot of times when we think about people changing behaviors, getting out of certain situations, a lot of times our brain fights that, no matter how bad it is, because we've become so accustomed to doing things certain ways. I've had people who so stressed in their lives, but when that stress is taken away, in fact, that becomes problematic for them because their body, their brain, their everything has gotten used to handling that stress in a way that it becomes problematic when that problem is not there. So again, it's about really working with each individual and step by step helping them find what is best for them and how it is best for them to get to the result, the outcome that we wish for them to be at.
Wow. Before I continue, for those that are watching, please feel free to ask questions. If you have any, we'll be wrapping it up very soon. So if you have questions, go ahead and get them in now. But what you just said about encouragement, that's so huge. Again, it brings more negativity when people are telling you just go, just get out. It puts more pressure on you, and you react a certain way. I was watching this program or this YouTube video where a guy and a girl was on the on the train, and the lady was pregnant, and he's just talking to her a certain way. His demeanor reminded me of my ex and what he did, and it really hurt me because I'm like, wow, they just seem the same. And the girl, she's kind of going back at him, and then she hits him. He pushes her or touches her, and everybody grabs him, and then she hits him, like slaps him, and then nothing really happens too much because she was pregnant, but the way he was talking to her, he didn't care who he was in front of. And people, when I posted that, people were saying like, well, why don't she just leave? Or there was a question, well, she hit him first, nobody addressed that. And I had to explain to the person that sometimes we don't know what the before was. She probably hit him, which she shouldn't have, but she was in front of a bunch of people, and that was probably her way to show her reaction to fear. But she has everybody yelling at her, just leave him, just leave him. And soon as some guys tried to beat him up, it was a bunch of them, they were hitting him and pushing him and kicking him, all kinds of things. She was like, get off of him. When before she was just saying, hey, can you stop hitting me? But if they didn't see what I seen, somebody that's scared, but she loves them, she doesn't know how to get out. And she said this, she said, I have nobody to go to. But she got everybody yelling her, get out and leave. They don't know her. They don't know where her situation is. But like you said, that encouragement is so true, so real. And we need that. And I thank God for the people that did encourage me and let me know I was better than that, and just continue to, find your way, find your way. So it's very true. We just got a question. It says, how do you deal with someone who thinks he or she is better than you just because he or she got a job before you?
Why worry about the person? I mean, a lot of times, I always tell people, stop giving other people power over your emotions. Seriously, whatever is going on with the person and they feel like they're better than you, that's their problem, okay? What matters is what you are thinking and how you are feeling and how you're responding to that situation. If you let the person, because of their behavior or the way that they are talking to you, ruin your your mood for the day, guess what? Your mood is being ruined, not theirs. So main thing is, think about how much control you're giving that person over how you feel. And there's different ways to think about other things. And sometimes when somebody like that is acting like that, I'll be like, okay, what exactly are they thinking? What is going on through their minds that they might be wanting to make you feel that way? So maybe if you think about a different alternative to what they're saying, that may also help you feel differently. So I always say, what is happening, how are you feeling about it? That's really going to play a part in how, or what are you thinking about it? Then that will play a part in terms of how you feel and act about it. So change, especially if it's irritating you, really change about how you think about it. Either ignore them, which may be hard a lot of times, or just don't let them. Think about it as, I do not want to let this person have power over how I feel, and do what you have to do for yourself. Take care of yourself.
Wonderful. Okay, we don't have any more questions. The time is winding down. Thank you so much for being on the show. But before I let you go, I don't know if you want to leave something with the audience. Also leave your contact information, the name of your company, and how they can get in contact with you.
Okay. I have two companies that I'm working with. The first one is called Integral Life Health and Trauma Institute. We are here in Moreno Valley, and it's a full scale facility that we do different kinds of mental health, fitness, and nutritional counseling. I am also I also have another one that is called UpCare. Actually, Integral Life, you can go on the website and find out more about us. It is integrallifehti.com. You can also check my other website, orcarehealth.com. With that, I do a lot of different things with it. I'm also a martial artist, so I do a lot of health and wellness that have to do with self-defense, and I kind of combine it with different kinds of things in psychology and mental health, and it's really fun. So write me, call me if you have any questions. Check me out on Facebook, on Twitter. On Twitter, I am at Dr. Blessing Okoro. So at Dr. Blessing, Blessing Okoro. Please send me questions either on the website, on Facebook, or via Twitter. And I would love to really have more conversations with all of you. But please, please take care of yourself. Very important. If you didn't get anything out of this today, I hope you got that. Take good care of yourself, because guess what? If anything happens to you tomorrow, everybody else's life continues. So take good care of your mental health, take good care of your physical health, take good care of your spiritual health, and any other health that you have. Take very good care of it, because when you're able to do that, then you can be a better person, a better mother, a better spouse, a better person in a relationship. But first and foremost, you gotta take care of who you are, and then your relationships will fall into place.
All right. Thank you so much for that. I definitely need to hear that. I appreciate
Thank
you
you
taking the
so much.
time.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem. And I definitely have your contact information. We'll stay in contact. And for those that are watching, if you are interested in more show information, you know someone else that is great for this show as a guest, please go to my website, which is commaspeaks.com, and fill out the contact us form, put the information in, and someone will get back to you within 24 to 48 hours. Also, you can go onto my website, again, commaspeaks.com, and check out my other shows and blogs and find out what it is that I'm doing. I appreciate all the support that I'm getting. I appreciate the love I'm getting, all the great knowledge, even within the show that I receive. So I want to again say thank you, Dr. Blessing, for being on my show. For those that want to follow me on social media, you can just hashtag Comma Speaks, and my social media information will come up. I'm sorry, and that's under Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter. So I'm everywhere. Google Plus, under Google Plus, I'm under Comma Burton. So thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, no matter what you do in life, always pursue your passion. Everyone have a wonderful day, a wonderful evening. I don't know what time of day you're watching this, but enjoy it. Good night.